Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hopefully you guys can hear me and we're live and we're rocking and rolling. But time will tell as soon as I get any feedback from the stream. We are going to talk about, like we normally do, with the dollar, the Russell, the Nasdaq, the S&P, Grandpa Dow. But today we're going to talk about a trade that I'm in, uh, and it has to do with Pelosi. Now, I've said in the past few streams, you guys can't see it on stream right here. It is ticker TEM, Tempus AI. And the past couple streams, I told you guys we are just not doing enough as far as the AI and medical space goes. And I was looking for something to get into, and nothing really hit the spot. And then Pelosi goes and buys this particular one. Now she ends up buying a January 2026 leap. Now, I did copy the same expiration date, but I did grab something different. In fact, I completely forgot what I got. It was back here. I grabbed the 40s. I want to say I grabbed the 40 calls. Now, I had grabbed the 40 calls for that year. Sorry, January 26th. And then I had grabbed some shares. Now, of the 1,000 shares, I ended up selling this week's call against. So the market had opened and I had bought that. And then I had sold 5 contracts against it, which I did close out today. They were the 53 expiration for this week. And I was like, while I do have these shares, I'll sell it. I'll make some calls. It's not a very good candidate right now for kind of running the wheel or just selling calls weekly. But it certainly took into a momentum ticker. So I know quite a few people are in on this with me inside my group, and it did nothing. Nothing until after hours. We'll bring up after hours real quick, and then it just goes for it. So everyone checking like the Robinhood app, you were just up a lot overnight. We finally got the open. Now it had actually just gapped up. We tagged that zone, went all the way into this next zone, and we're finally seeing some sellers here. And I don't know if this one is just getting started or if this is going to be another lower high. Looking at it, it's only been trading since June of last year. And now it's had a couple of good just pumps on earnings, which fades away. And almost anything in the medical space, that's almost what you can expect. My admin's on YouTube right now. He says the premiums are insane. They really are. It really was nuts to collect that much just for at the time, a $50 ticker. So I couldn't ignore that. In fact, I even thought today I might sell some. If the pump had continued, I was going to sell some 50 strike calls, against my shares, which would end up being as a pump and dump. Hopefully, it would just come back down. It would just be aggressively attacking my my cost basis. Now, when you think like, some people do that, like, oh, it jumps up here. I'll sell the let's say it's at $76. They're going to sell the $60 strike covered call because they're going to collect $1,600. It's the same in shares. By the time it comes back and expires worthless, you will lose that in your shares. You'll gain in the options. So it's kind of a zero. But what I was going to do was I plan on keeping these shares. It was just weird that Pelosi, she's throwing out what I feel is a couple sandbag plays to remind everybody she's human and she does make losers. It's like occasionally she loses. 99 of her trades are going to be great. It's usually like I spent 10 million on Nvidia, 20 million on Google, 100 grand on this ticker. It was a loser. See you guys. I don't have insider information. But this time I think she did spend 100 grand on these calls. A small cap ticker, 100 grand is actually a lot compared to I can't really compare it to her Nvidia or Google plays, but to put that much out there on a ticker like this, that is a lot. Coincidentally, the next day, they do announce they're starting an app. They have all this medical. They take all your medical data, and they're using AI with it to maybe kind of find something directly for you. Now, I did apply for the invite to this app. It's not on the App Store yet or anything like that, but you can go to their website and you can apply to get it. So I did do that. I don't have it yet, but I am curious to see what this does. I've had my fair share of medical issues lately. I mean, I hit 35, started falling apart. I was ironclad growing up. I never got sick. Hit a brick wall, I think quite literally while I was sleeping. So personally, I think it'd be cool if I could benefit from it at all. But, right after Pelosi buys, they do announce this. I'm curious to see what they have on their next earnings. They do burn through cash like crazy. So we do now. If you're inside my group, you can pull these up. You have to at least be in Mike's tier, which is tier 2 or higher as far as Patreon goes. There's 3 tiers. Tier 1, you just get to see all my plays. Tier 2, you get to see mine and Mike's. Tier 3, you get the nightly streams, the Zoom, all the plays. You get everything. So we can pull these up and kind of see where it's at. As far as the disruptor score, it does get a little bit higher. This has anything to do with the AI space. There needs to be a multiplier there. Not a lot of data to go on as far as their income down here in free cash flow. A lot of red numbers. It's just not the best right now. They are burning through cash, which is weird to see. When you see a sheet that looks like this, but politicians are buying it in a space that is, there's a lot of regulatory hiccups. That threw off a few red flags for me to make me think maybe something is up, which is why I'm curious about this one. I didn't see the invite for their app. I looked through their website. It was right there on the front page for me. Or I'm just going to give my medical data to some random app. It made sense though. They announced the app. I went to the website. There it was. Got the invite. I had to give my information. Weird. Just my social, a couple different credit cards. No big deal. Anyway, as far as this goes right now, not a lot to go off of right here. What I do like when I'm looking at a sheet like this, if it's for an investment, I like to see the income, the free cash flow. I like to see things, even like when Tesla wasn't making money, they were just losing less and less each time. This one I think is going to be a little bit more sporadic. So I wanted to bring this up just to show you. Not the best track record, not really a track record at all. Kind of an underdog. I can clearly see why Pelosi's not just 10 million all in on this. Still took a sizable bet with those. She does what I call synthetic long positions. She still gets a 1-to-1 ratio as far as deltas go. And remember, guys, shares are hard deltas. Options are soft deltas. It's all the same. So when you buy it deep in the money, it's a 99 delta. You're still getting that same 1-to-1 ratio. If the stock goes up $1, so does your contract. But you get to spend a lot less capital-wise. If nukes go off, the market goes to zero, you actually lose a lot less in the options chain doing that, which is just, again, a synthetic long position. I went with at the money. So we're just we're sending it. I'm glad I did because I was even being picky with the limit price, and I ended up bumping it up later. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. It's not worth a couple $100, and then we sent it. She also did VST, very pricey options on both. Well, they are now. Yeah, and she exercised her NVIDIA. She did buy Google. She went Google and Amazon. So the one thing that really caught me off guard, or the one thing that really had me question things, not really caught off guard, was a politician buying a lot of AI plays. A politician that's been known to just know things. We're only assuming she knows things. It's just been a coincidence every time. It's weird. Now, I still think that we're going to crash in March. This doesn't change anything about that. Pelosi will hold through it. We've seen her hold stuff through this before and still come out ahead. And again, I do think we kind of crash in March. I think that's going to be an awesome dip buy. How fast we can recover, we'll see. We'll see if I'm even right in the first place. But I do think money will flood into the AI plays first. They're like Google, Amazon, Microsoft. There's a whole new thing, Stargate. I don't know if you guys have looked into that, the $500 billion venture with OpenAI, and was it Oracle? Yeah. Anyway, that's going to be wild. I have a whole video coming out about that later. We are going to do a deep dive with Mike on that one. But I wanted to bring up my trade right here. Getting above this, if we get above this zone, right now, I don't care what they are, right? Right now, this is a momentum trade. They've not come out with anything medically significant. They're not making money. So as a business-wise, this is just, it's still very in its early stages. Could pop off. Things could get weird. But for now, momentum trade. Pelosi's in it. Some traders got it. We see green candles like this. So it's just that momentum, that hype, the FOMO driving this in, which will bring just more buyers in general. So if we send it really above this zone, I will start getting aggressive with the sold calls against my shares because I want to hold it, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to stay. So essentially, I'll be selling, but not selling at the same time, if that makes sense. It'll be interesting to time. I'll put it that way. Let's zone this out up here. It would be hard not to get pretty aggressive with it if we get to that $65 mark. Oh, we don't see the chat. Ooh, my bad. There we go. I forgot TikTok has. With the streaming software, I have to specifically say share this one. Flip back to your charts. My bad. Pelosi knew about Stargate project before it was announced. Yeah, and I get it. A lot of people really hate politicians for it, but politicians don't really make jack for their level of power and everything. I kind of just see it as a. I said this with my group. This is like your employee discount. This is just perks of the job, and why you get it. No one's gonna be a politician because they think it's fun. Like they get to lie to people, they get to steal and cheat. That's the job. Sorry if you're a politician and I offended you for speaking the truth. But anyway, aside from the point, we can still watch their plays. I will say the odd thing about this one is Pelosi made the transaction and then reported it, which is weird because usually she's late. Now, for a politician not to report this, they do get fined. I think it's like $250. Some might call that the cost of doing business. I don't know. It's only illegal if you're poor. Just remember that. You forgot power in addition to lie, steal, and cheat. Yeah, you have the power to do that. Oh, there's a Lambo coin that just went out? No. Anyway, let's go on with the normal stream. I guess right now after hours we're pulling back a little bit. I don't know. Right now, that the fact that we saw this momentum and that's kind of all we can do. Maybe we ran the clock out and we ran out of time, or the buyers are still just here. Little timid Timmy was selling a couple of his shares. That was it. So we'll need to see if tomorrow do we just gap above this and send it. If we were to gap above it, I imagine that's what's going to happen. Right now, we're kind of at that make or break where we're going to reject, and it was just a flash in the pan, or it turns into a real momentum trade. Not to say that it hasn't already, but momentum trades can get wild. All right, jumping into the U.S. dollar, a little bit of a bounce today. Nothing wild. This is not a zone. This is just kind of a support area. I probably could zone this out right there, but we'll see. We'll see if we get the continuation down on that. That does need to break. Then we'll worry about the next weekly zone. As far as the U.S. dollar, Japanese yen, we are back into that zone. So if you were looking to short, this would be your entry. There's your breakout. Maybe we're retesting that. Bitcoin playing the back and forth game. Kind of hanging out right now. Honestly, it's cool we got above this range. Bitcoin needed that. So right now, I would really focus on these two. And mindset wise, bullish above, bearish below. I think I'm gonna take this off. When I make it just a brighter color like that, just because that's where my attention's at. Color still remains the same. Blue is still a speed bump zone, kind of where I expect some interaction, some turbulent areas. We don't just blow right through it. So get above that 108. We're rocking and rolling. We get below 102. Sucks to suck. Either way, to be clear, I don't trade it. I just buy it. Let's check out XRP. What did that? I know that finally shot up. Ooh, basing out again. Now, as far as zones go, looks like we're going to play this game again. We could probably fine tune that one just a tad. Those are going to be your breaking points. Buyers are here, sellers are here. When that story ends, yeah, we probably are going to come down to this level. I would be bullish. That just looks like another continuation play, especially if Bitcoin gets the jump. I don't know why my lip keeps twitching right here. You guys probably can't see because it's maybe hidden by the mic. It feels weird though. I can't wait for AI to figure out nerves. That's what I need. I need AI to figure out the vagus nerve. I need a 3D printer to get a new one. Let me know if you got the hookup on that. All right, S&P is at all-time highs. All right, so we checked the all-time highs box. Remember that one time I told you guys I'd be bullish this week? Anyway, if you're paying attention, congrats on all the long plays because you're up. Hang on. If you ever see these little white zones, those little 15-minute zones, I would not put a lot of capital on there. If we were to break that zone, this is where I would look for a bounce for a higher low. We would probably need a base out here for a little bit for me to buy that, but I would expect if tomorrow were to break down, that would be where I'm buying the dip. My admin did nail it. He said my explanation of what was going to happen today was spot on. Yeah, it definitely was. Unfortunately, you have to be in the group to figure that out. Cody does take PayPal. Are you guys seeing this? He's copying me. All right, so we got to the expected move, and coincidence, that's where the sellers are. All right, as far as the NASDAQ goes, still just trending up, doing that just fine. Honestly, this is what I would have been paying attention to. We just didn't have it zoned out. Getting above that would have been bullish. Got above it, and then we just need to test it. If there's going to be a situation, it's going to be up there as far as sellers go. We can get rid of this. I almost want to buy the dip right now. We're probably a little bit up there. We could stand to cool off, but do we have any fireworks tomorrow? Thursday the 23rd. Initial jobless claims. We got PMI Friday. So I wonder if we just send it up tomorrow, then PMI is bad, and we drop it back down. SPX Tech 2. Cody's ready to buy already. I think I would be bullish right now. I just think we're a little bit up there. I think we're a little bit, as far as the short-term time frame, I think we're a little bit up there. Like we could afford to come down here, maybe even all the way down to this zone. You would need a pretty bad report to lead that reaction. When is PMI? PMI is Friday in the morning. All right, going on to the Grandpa Dow full send. Hung out inside there for a month. You would have to be long. Your stop would be below this gray zone right here, but then you'd be watching for sellers right here. Honestly, I would entertain going short right there. If I was trading the futures, I would go short right up here. And then that would be my day trade, couple days, whatever. And then I'd buy the dip down here. Let's go over the Russell. Russell's in that zone. And it's in the zone and pulled back. So I wouldn't be buying it, but I would be bullish. And just play this trend. There's anyone on the smaller time frames is probably looking at a channel up right now. Bear flag or reversal. Buy the dip. Put your stop right there. I think we need a few hundred points off the NASDAQ. It may not be this week, but 21,780 area looks good for a long. They're up there. I agree. I think we need to pull back. We'll probably need a catalyst for that. So we'll have to see. I do want to let's check out some EVs. Get wrecked. Rivian is either bouncing right now or it's going to do what the EVs do. Most EV manufacturers, they just go down. Honestly, I put my stop at 12.35. Breaks that, it's probably hopping right on down another $1. On a $10 stock, that's a pretty big move. If you're thinking horizontal, you would go long right here, and your stop would be 12.35. Am I bullish or bearish going into data tomorrow on PMI? I'm bullish right now. Honestly, I think tomorrow's going to send it up, then PMI is going to be bad and send it back down. If the reverse does happen, I'll buy it. Honestly, I want to buy the dip regardless. I don't want to be confusing or like give both answers. I'm hoping tomorrow's green, whatever jobless claims, whatever comes out tomorrow, sends it up because we're not too overbought. We're not ringing any bells or just hammering shorts, but we're getting up there. So tomorrow has a good report. It'd be a perfect excuse for PMI to have a red reaction. Either way, I want to buy the dip. If tomorrow was green, I actually would consider going short. But if tomorrow is red because of jobless claims, then I'm bullish going into PMI. I don't really care what's on the data if you guys haven't figured it out. I'll trade the charts of the zones. That news and that catalyst usually comes out when we're in a zone, which is why I just don't put a lot of weight onto what the actual number is, because I worry more about the money. People will talk with, what do I say, talk in one hand, but put their money in the other one. There's a saying somewhere in there. But I don't care what people say. I don't care what their little gums are flapping. I care where they vote with their wallets. The data is extremely important. Sure is. Yeah, which is why you should watch the news channels that cover that. To keep it plain and simple, if you guys are new here, I have an income bias. I don't really have a data bias or why that politician was wrong, and even though I'm right, and no, that's silly to me. Okay, so Apple. Let's cover that one real quick because that one, it got bent. Apple usually doesn't move down like this, but they're announcing tariffs, and I gotta say, I sold Apple a while back. 75% of my Apple position I sold. And this is the first time I've been kind of intrigued to get back into Apple. Now, last time there was a tariff war, Apple got an exemption. There's all this, we're scared, we're worried, and tariff this and that, and then Apple got a little pardon. Like, hey, don't worry, we're not gonna tax your stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, we're gonna tax just the. It's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. If you're not as big as Apple, it's kind of like getting a speeding ticket, or like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's only illegal if you're poor. If you're rich, it's just called the cost of doing business. Or you have the connects, the contacts. So that being said, I'm kind of looking for a repeat. I'm going to wait for the selling to stop, and then I might buy Apple. Right now, it's just getting worked. It's selling off. If it gets to this zone right here, it'd be hard not to buy Apple. I would buy shares. There's probably even a decent argument to be buying it right now. On a $200 ticker, if your average cost is 220 or 215, if it's a long-term play, that means nothing. If you're trying to day trade or scalp it, yeah, execution's very important. Let's see. Terry says Apple 216V. My wife said you're a trader for pineapple. Is the pineapple upside down? Is that what's going on? Or are her texts green or blue? Apple has been holding the NASDAQ down. Usually it's the bullish one. Usually Apple is just untouchable, and it just keeps going annoyingly. No, I don't think Pelosi did buy AMD. I did. I bought some more of it. Buying Apple, I love text to talk. Yeah, no, I'll always have an iPhone. Which sucks if Elon were to come out with like a Tesla phone. It'd be cool, and I might have one. It would sit on my shelf like my Android phone that I had for not even a week. There was one more TikTok called out. What did Kramer say? Serve? Is that Serve Robotics? Okay. Serve Robotics. I don't know if this is a. I don't know if we're here yet. Strong buy. Self-driving delivery. That channel looks all right. This particular one, I'm bullish now. This is also one. Anything I'm buying right now that I might swing trade, because guys, I don't actually set out to day trade or anything. You've heard this before if you've watched any one of my videos. I buy when it makes sense and I sell when it makes sense. I don't care if that's 30 seconds or 30 days, 30 months. I don't care. If it keeps going up, I'm in it. If it turns around, I'm out. But I also know about things like, hey, if there's a crash coming, their liquidity dries up. There's a reason why the giants. Imagine there's a flood. Water's coming in. You got 6 feet of water. The basketball players that are 6'6", they're fine. The little kids, I would call this a toddler right now. Going to get swept away. They're just not the ones you want to stay in. So I would have that in the back of my mind. There's the self-driving delivery. I'm sure AI is somewhere in there, and they're saying all the key words. I know what they are. I think robotics is big, but not one not a hill you'd want to die on right now. I guess I'd be bullish. My stop would have to be 1635. Oh, that's a little tight. 1585 is all the wiggle room in the world. You can give us a couple dollars per share. And honestly, I'd have to go. I would be long, but my stop would be 1585. Happy to see you back on TikTok. It was shut down. Thanks to Trump. We're back. Sorry, I can't say without laughing. For the record, who told you guys TikTok wasn't going anywhere? Are you kidding me? The money that brings in, this is the best advertising firm out there. It's not going anywhere. Let's do a couple more. POAI. I do like that one. Using a little AI for the cancer situation. Interesting, it's spiking up. It'll probably do what it normally does, spike and then come right back down. If I were to entertain taking a trade, it would be 115 would be my stop. But ladies and gentlemen, I do have to get to why the big day on Microsoft? I have a feeling that is Stargate. Microsoft just left. It went outside the standard deviation, pushing almost 2. I can actually pull up what 2 standard deviations is for you guys real quick before we get out of here. Microsoft's expected move 2 standard deviation is 446.83. Did we get right to it? We were just pennies away from that. So hit 2 standard deviations. Hang on. Hit that and pulled back. Interesting. Honestly, you could probably sell some 450 calls on Microsoft for this week. Yeah, Microsoft mentioned in Stargate. That Stargate's one I'm going to have to do a full deep dive on. If you guys want to do your homework and look into that, that's going to be wild, especially one of the speakers there. Yeah, anyway, I do have to wrap it up here. But if you're curious about being in the nightly streams and all that, just make sure you check out the Patreon. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Have a good one.